This is kind of an interesting story I wrote. I was thinking when I was going to college, they were having a final examination, and this guy I went to school with was Neil Barton, and he was a fraternity guy, and he was smart, but he was a fun guy, you know, and he was from the South. He had an accent and so on. Well, we were having a final examination in neurology, and Neil belonged to this fraternity. Well, the fraternity told him, Neil Anderson, who was the instructor of the course, Neil always gives the same final exam every year. He's done it for 5 years. So they gave Neil the examination. So Neil just looked at the examination, studied that, knew it, and she was going to go in and get this test cold. And that was the year that the professor changed the test. And he flunked it out, you know. And so when the professor was handing out the papers, I was sitting next to Neil, and he said, Neil, I don't understand. He says, you a good student, you know your stuff and everything, but he says, you didn't know anything on this exam. He says, what happened? Neil says, have you ever had a tip on a horse and you knew that horse was coming in and you went to the racetrack and you took all the money you had and you bet on that horse and the horse didn't come in? And the professor said, no, Neil, I never had that happen. He says, then you don't know how I feel. So the professor said, well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you take it over. I hate to have you flunk, you know, for graduation. So they gave him that, and he passed it. Strange. Neil was funny though.